Greetings, Graphic Coder. Just a quick little demo here. We're just going to hack around here. This is just an exercise to look at functions, pen colors, and list variables. So our little program here is going to do some simple little tasks. We hit go here, the green guy, and basically these four sprites are just randomly moving around different pen colors. You see different pen widths. You see when they go outside this frame, they glide back to the center. So let's see how we might do these kinds of functions. We're using these things using functions. All right. So you'll see that each sprite has very little code. This is the scripts for each sprite. First sprite draws the border, and then it says go. And the other sprites all say go. They're calling this function called go. If we look at that function, doing very little, and functions can call other functions. So what this function does for each given sprite, remember that's being called by each sprite, sets the size, and then goes to the center, and then calls this other function draw randomly. So each of the four will all call this function, and then they'll call another function called draw randomly. We'll look at that function, and here that one is a little bit longer. I want to show you some things here. This list here, how we did that, or I should say setting the pen color randomly, how we can do that is we go to the pen, we use this one right here, this set here, and we can change that to RGB, which is color, common way to set colors in graphics. And we want to set that has to be 3 values. So how do we do 3 values at once? It's a list. So we go to variables and we make a little list here of 3 values. I'm going to hit the arrow 2 times. So now we have 3 values. This time we're going to go random. Sometimes we would set the value to like 25500 to get a different color or a desired color. This time we'll use random. So we use random quite a bit in graphics. Go random for each of the 3 values. We'll go random. And what we want to do is go 0 to 255. That's what each of those color values can be. That's the valid values. And we'll set that in there. So that's setting the pen color to random. And then if we didn't, just pretend we didn't have that in place, then what would we do? We would just, of course, insert it here at our desired point. I think I'd rather have it right here. And there we go. What else is this function doing then after it sets the color? It's setting the pen size also randomly. Then it sets the pen down, and then it does its random movement. All it's doing is a random direction, random step movement. And then if it calls another function is outside. If it is outside, that's when it says to go home. It's just another function. So what does is outside look like? That is basically getting the x and y values. And then if they're outside that frame, we know the frame values, it's going to return true if it is outside. And if it's outside, it's going to glide back home via the home function here. Glides back home. What else did we want to look at here? I thought there was one other thing. We looked at list variables. Oh, we looked at list variables and pen colors. Yeah, that was the 2 things. Okay. Well, that showcased, I think, functions a little bit and how really capable they are and dynamic, and it's really up to our imagination how we want to use them. But it's a great way to organize code. If we didn't have these functions in this case, we would have a whole bunch of code. Each of these sprites would have a bunch of code making things happen, but we've organized them into these 4 functions, which are shared by all of the sprites. That's their shared functions. In other words, when we made a function or make a block, it's called in Snap. When we make the function, we said for all sprites here. So it's a shared function. So anyway, little demo and example and hacking on functions. We'll talk to you soon.